Good evening, everyone. Just a quick update on what's growing in the containers in the garden. Okay, so first is the garlic. This is garlic I planted out way too early and it bolted way too early. It was end of last September. I pulled one out a couple of days ago and it has a tiny little bulb on it. So I've just added some more compost and I'm leaving them where they are for another couple of months. These are 35-litre containers, and the roses are compliments of the next door neighbours. They drop on them, and I think it's Harmony I've got growing in these. I think that said Harmony. I'm adding the audio to this, but the picture is coming up quite sketchy. So these are the experimental potatoes. That's a peel that I just pulled out of the compost bin. That was the Charlotte peel, which didn't really do anything, but it's still there, so I'm leaving it. And that is the shopboard peel. I have no idea what potato it was, but the plant's doing quite well. Don't know what's happening in the pots, but the plant is doing quite well. And the first one that we looked at was the Pentland Javelin that I planted in an 8-inch pot, just to see what I get out of it. These are the radish. These are supposed to be very quick growing. Again, I think it's just a function of the fact that there's so little light reaches our back garden, but it's taken them some time to get to this point. But that one there looks a bit like the picture on the front of the packet, so I think they're doing something. And that's the one I planted with my granddaughter when she did all the sprinkles. If you look back, there's a video on that. That one's nearly ready to eat. And then I've got some dwarf tomato plants. I think one is called Snow White, and I can't remember the other one. It's supposed to be a yellow tomato on it. 3 buddleias I've got. They're going to go somewhere in the garden, but I don't know where. And I've got courgettes and cucumbers, and I didn't label them, and the leaves are very similar and the plants look very similar, so I don't know which is which. So spring onions never really did anything. There's a lily. I saw Oliver's video earlier and he had a lily, and it just made me laugh because that's our one in the back. That was taken from a cutting about 20 years ago in my mum's back garden. We've never fed it, never looked after it, never did anything to it, and it just flowers beautifully every year. These are Morris Piper, starting to show their heads. Some carrots. Again, quite disappointing, not a lot of carrots have shown their heads. Strawberries with some flowers on and some small amount of fruit. Parsnips look very, very sad for themselves. I think if I get 2 parsnips out of it, it'll be a decent lot. I've got some lettuce and some spinach and some parsley growing in pots. That's another one of those dwarf tomatoes, but I can't remember which one. Lettuce, which I thought I'd left in the little tiny seed trays too long, but they seem to be doing something, although the plants are very weak and thin, but they may come on. Spinach looks really good. That's growing strong and healthy. And the pink tray is the unfortunately our guinea pig passed away, so I repurposed his tray. Some more strawberries, alpine strawberries. These plants are 5 or 6 years old, so they're old and tired, but they're still producing fruit. So, and again, we don't do anything to them. They just get left to their own devices, really. Some more potatoes in 35-litre tubs. this is this is how high the garden debris is at this stage. I've got a little series running, but I haven't updated it in ages, making the garden 1 hour at a time. Well, I've done nothing for the last 3 months, ever since the last video went up, but except tidying up bits of cut stuff when I find it, and the wall's getting bigger. Now these are not chives, onions, and what's the other one that splits in 4? Shallots, that's it. Now, I got them. Sorry, the audio is running a bit behind the actual pictures, but I got them, I lost them, I found them when they were all mushy, and I just planted them mushy, so we'll see what happens. This is, thanks to you, I know what it is now. It's the Mahonia japonica, or Japonica Mahonia, and I still haven't had the nerve to cut it back, because you know what's going to happen to me if it dies. So I took all of your advice, and I decided the best strategy was to actually wait for it to seed. Are they the seeds, what I just had in my hand there? Is that the seed pods? Because I've decided to wait for it to seed, collect some of the seeds, and then I'm going to savagely cut it back as I've been advised it can take it. That's all the ivy, some overhanging branches from the neighbour's pine tree, and you can see it's taking up half the garden. And where I had dug over, I had to put some cardboard down and just put some of the pots there, because I literally had no room. And you can see the bindweed is coming back with vigour. What are they? Harmony, more harmony potatoes. So there's some 10 litre pots. Oh yeah, we're growing some close pegs. This is the Pegius rubeus. It's doing very well. Some spinach, parsnips again, looking terribly sad. It has rained here for 4 days in a row. It honestly hasn't let up raining at all, so everything is drenched. That blue tub, there's some more of those soft onions, and just we'll see if we can get anything out of it. But the other recycling bin that you saw, that the rest of the germinated parsnip seeds, I just literally threw in that tub to see if anything grows. If it grows, it grows. If it doesn't, well, hey ho. And there's another tub of parsley there. Some spring onions. They look a bit better in the pots. These are the Maris Pipers. So I've taken a different approach with them. I'm just going to let them show their heads, and then I'll earth them up maybe twice. That's the pond area. That's going to be part of the Making a New Garden 1 hour at a time playlist, but I haven't got around to doing anything with it. But I have cleared a little bit of it out. This is the garden, the first bit of the garden I sowed with the wildflowers. So there's some nettles there. There's definitely some flowers. Do you recognise this? Is that a weed, or is that likely to be one of these flowers? Because it's really weird. 3 of them grew in a dead straight line, and they're the tallest of the plants. But you know how weeds are they have a very soft stem. They have a very soft stem, whereas the stems to the other plants feel a bit more plant-like, if you know what I mean. And I think some of them are getting ready to show some flowers. So yeah, if those really tall things are weeds, I'll pull them. If not, I'll leave them. I might just leave them anyhow, because if they flower, they'll attract bees and butterflies probably. Now these I'm really pleased with. I bartered some vermicompost for half a tray of these. A mustard leaf of some description, which looked in really bad condition in a tray. They were root bound, they were dying, so I just separated them out and planted them in this tub, and they have really come on. So, and I'm sure, I don't eat them, but I'm assured by Mrs. Worms they taste lovely, the leaves. So she's picking leaves off them to put into salads. Some garlic, which looks a bit better than the first lot of garlic. I think I planted this garlic out in February, but this looks a lot better. Some more courgettes or cucumbers, I'm not sure which. They're definitely courgettes, so I think I'll just compare the leaves, and then I'll know which plants I've got where. They're waiting to go into bigger tubs. I just haven't got out in the garden because of the rain. Some more carrots. Again, they look a bit sad. I sprinkled the seeds all across the tops of these pots, but you can see a lot of them didn't germinate. Obviously, some did. I think that's a weed. Carrots don't like competing with weeds, so I'll pull that out. I hope it's a weed. Garlic has grown nice and strong there. There's some that might have been a pot of more of the squishy onion bulbs. And last but not least, more potatoes. Now these are the Pentland Javelins that I planted out towards the end of February in the grow bags, and there's a couple of containers there as well which have Charlottes in, I think. Not Charlottes, Swift or Rocket, one or the other. I can't remember. See, what happened was I did actually label everything, but then my deputy head of container gardening decided she would go and collect up all the lollipop sticks that I had written everything on. So now I have no idea what's what. It's a spud, and it's growing, and it looks quite reasonable. Of course, it's what's going on underneath that matters, but they look okay. They've enjoyed the rain, the non-stop rain that we've had for the last 3 days, or 4 days now almost. So that's it, a quick update on what's happening in the garden. Not a whole lot, but there you go.